Hello everybody and welcome to our stream today. I'm sitting here in the sunny UK, which is unusual for us at this time of year, but typically I sit in one position and I'm getting completely burnt. So welcome to us and here. Thank you to Dibley for having us. This is a Dibley event and they've asked me to talk to you today about author websites. So that's what we're going to be doing. I've got a presentation to take you through, which is going to teach you a few things about what you can do to improve your website position online if you're an author or a producer or anything like that. This is going to be stuff that you can take away. But just tell us where you are. So as you arrive, let us know who you are, where you are, maybe what kind of author you are. I don't mean whether you're a good one or a bad one. I mean what kind of genre you write in, or you know, what kind of books you've written, and let us know where you are in the world. This is a truly global event. We just had producer Mike, who's in the background. Thank you, Mike, for helping out there. He's somewhere in the States, I believe, and Candice was here too, part of the Dibley team. I think she's in South Africa. So yeah, we're reaching around the four corners of the world and probably more. We're going to wait a few minutes just to let a few more people join us, and then we'll kick off with our presentation today. We had a good few people sign up to join us today, so I think we've got a few in already. So yes, if you navigate to the chat, if you can see that and you can tell us where you are. Aha, here we go. We've got somebody from Johannesburg. Hello there, nice to have you in. Thank you very much. Hello from Ontario, Canada, a non-fiction writer. Do we let non-fiction writers in here? I don't know. Yeah, of course we do. Tracy, hello Tracy from Tennessee, US. Tennessee, I love your whiskey. I don't drink, but I'm sure it's lovely. Hi from New Zealand. Goodness me. One of my team members works in New Zealand, so we've kind of got 24 hours around, but trying to catch up with her is impossible. Just finished her first book and a web designer. Uh-oh. We can work together. We don't have to work apart. Well, hopefully you'll get some tips today as well, or you might be able to give me some. Hello from South Africa to Vanessa Alberts. Hello. Samantha, hello from Cape Town. Oh, we've got a big South African group here. Colorado from Sue. Is that Sue? Yes. Hello, Sue from Colorado. I may have missed a couple of people there. Oh, sports writer from India. Hello to you. Who else have we got? Test. We've got Test in here. Hello, Test. That was us earlier. It's not really a person. Hello there, LinkedIn user. I'm also from Johannesburg. Hello. Thank you for joining us, everybody. So Amy, you're right at the start of your journey. If you've just published your first book, well done. That is a big mountain to climb. Apparently it does get easier. I'm not an author, but I've obviously worked with hundreds of them, which is why I look the way I do. Who else have we got? Anyone else? Hello, sir, coming in. J-Deep, hello, great name. Jan, hello, from beautiful Wahaguni. I'm probably saying that completely wrong. Wanganui. What a brilliant name that is. That's in New Zealand. Loving that. I've been to Australia about 6 times, and it always blows me away. The most beautiful names of all the places over there, which I'm sure is similar in New Zealand. Annette from Canada. Hi. We really are all over the place today, which is amazing. Technology, hey? Let's just hope it works. We've had some interesting attempts at getting us to this point live, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody, it's all going to work and keep us going for the next hour. Oh, we've got someone from Mexico, Yolanda. Hello, Yolanda. Don't forget to tell us what kind of books you write as well, what genre you're writing. It's always good to know who's in the house. Oh, I got it right the second time around, Jan said. Excellent. Yeah, it took me a while. Mind you, we've got some interesting names over here as well in the UK. Some of our Welsh names are incredibly complicated. Brian, hello Brian, nice to see you here. Thank you, coming in from Michigan, and he writes one book fiction. Well, no, he's written a book, and that's fiction. Excellent. So we've got not only people from all over the world, but people writing in all different kinds of genres as well. very exciting. I've written about, I've written about 5 books in my head. So they've never actually made it onto paper, which is a bit of a problem when you're trying to launch an author career. But, you know, they're safely hidden away on my hard drive, which I'm sure some of you have got the best books ever written on your hard drives as well. Hello, Samantha again. She's focusing on non-fiction books for now. Excellent. Huge market for non-fiction at the moment. How else have we got? Oh, this lady, Sleepy Hollow, I think that was Annette, has written over 100 books. Oh my goodness, in various genres: romance, fantasy, dystopian, cozy mystery, suspense, thrillers, and children's fiction. Well, where's the non-fiction in there? Come on, what are you doing with yourself? Sort it out. Write some more. No, that is insane. Well done. Congratulations on that. That's incredible. You not only have you got to learn how to publish books, but you've got to learn how to publish books in all those different genres and, you know, sort out all the tropes and everything for those. So that is a job and a half. That really is. Well done. Excellent. Right, well, that's a few minutes in, so I think we'll press on with the presentation and we'll let other people join us as they do. So hopefully we're all ready to go. So settle in, get yourself a drink, try not to fall asleep. If you do, turn off your mic so you don't hear you snore. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I won't be able to actually see them while we're doing the presentation, but we will get to them at the end. So feel free to drop anything in there and I can scan back through them. And I think Mike's going to help me out with some of those as well. And just lastly there, Sue's popped in. Hello, Sue. She says, I've published my first historic fiction. And Jan says, my first book is being written now and is non-fiction. Excellent. Right, let's jump to the presentation. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. And I think you'll be able to see me in the corner somewhere. In the words of REM, that's me in the corner. I'll try not to do anything rude, like pick my nose or my ear, which because I always forget, because I can only see my presentation, so I can't see me, so I forget that I'm actually here. But anyway, so today we're going to be talking about standing out online. This is, as I said earlier, all thanks to Dibley, who put together this event and invited me to speak to you. I met the Dibley team at the London self-publishing show in June, which was amazing. Great team of people. I really enjoyed catching up with Candice and the others. So it's really a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much to all of the Dibley team for having this event set up for you guys as well. So there's kind of 2 parts to Dibley as well. There's the Urban Writers, which is really like a freelancer platform where authors can go to hire people that are experts at things like freelancers, editing, narration, illustrations, all the kind of things that maybe you're not an expert in and need some help with. The Urban Writers is somewhere you can go to find somebody that is a perfect match for you. You can look at their, you know, portfolios and then hire them if it's a good fit for you. Dibley Create is a relatively new thing and very, very exciting. If you haven't had a play yet, I do recommend going and having a look. It's an AI enhanced kind of platform that enables you to not only write your book with the assistance of AI, but also there's some fantastic research tools. You can request via the assistant as well that they match you with a freelancer who's a specialist at whatever it is you're struggling with. So, you know, the 2 platforms work beautifully together, and they're right on the cutting edge of where things are going. And, you know, if you're looking or struggling to write a book at the moment, Dibley Create would be a great place to go and have a look at to see if it suits you. So a couple of things we're going to solve today, or try to. We're not going to solve them because obviously that would be amazing, but I'm going to give you some ideas of how you can. We're going to look at how to make a great site that readers love. All right. We're going to look at how to get more traffic, and this is a major bugbear of mine, that authors kind of build their sites, or they get someone else to build their site and then they kind of leave it over there and forget about it for the rest of time and don't actually do anything with it. So hopefully this session will give you some really good ideas on how you can get more traffic to your site, which in turn hopefully will lead us on to the 3rd point there of how to make more profit, which is what we all really want. I'm sure if you're very you'll probably be saying that all you want to write for is your readers, which of course is true, but we also want to line our pockets with a little bit of dollar so that we can buy our families the thing we want to buy. So that's why we're here, to look at how we can increase income as well. So who am I? Very quickly, I've worked with authors for over a decade, which is why I look the way I do. I'm actually only 23, but it's aged me terribly. I've made over 300 author websites now, so there's not much I haven't seen. Although authors do still have the ability to surprise me with what they are looking for. I run a digital agency here in the UK. We're focused on helping authors. We don't just do websites, we do all kinds of other stuff, some of which we'll touch on today. I'm currently the highest rated web designer on Readsy, which I'm very proud of. Got coming up to 150 5-star reviews. So lots of very pleased clients with a great portfolio and lovely comments from them. And I love party rings. So for those of you maybe in the US, I don't know if you have them there. They're the best biscuit in the world. And if you don't believe me or agree with me, I will fight you. They are a little crispy biscuit with some icing on the top. I can eat a whole packet in one sitting. And I have lots of hats. So I've got one in the picture there, and I'm wearing a different one. So yes, I've got more than two, but you get the idea. So what do you need your site for? It's for collecting emails. That's the kind of gold standard. Obviously, you can collect emails other ways, but that is the thing that most authors use their website for. Fundamentally, you want to get that relationship with your readers. You want to get that email list up and running. You want to be able to communicate with them. It's also obviously a portal for readers to find you. So hopefully in the event that people are Googling your name, you want your site to pop up so that they can find out who you are, what you write, and everything else. You know, if you've been recommended to them by their friends or whatever, you need somewhere that they can find you. Also, you might be looking to sell direct. So this has been something that's been bubbling away in the community for the last few years, you know, making more money without selling through Amazon or whatever. And we'll look at that a bit in a minute, but you need a website, obviously, to do that. But it is your home online. And that's one of the beautiful things about having a website. It's completely your house, your rules. You don't have to fit into any, you know, certain sizes. You can add anything you like. You can add any number of links, pictures, videos, audio, which obviously you can't do on any other platform. So it really is unique and standalone on that basis, that it really is about you, and you can put whatever the hell you like, pictures of your dog, you know, anything. So what we're going to cover, we're going to look at 10 things which could increase revenue on your website. We're going to look at ways to draw your readers into your site and keep them there when they're there. And we're going to then look at how to promote your site in various ways. And hopefully there'll be some really actionable takeaways today, which you can actually dig into and take off some of them and get to work. So let's just talk about selling direct first of all. So there's loads of companies sprung up in the last few years that allow you to sell direct from your website. BookVault and Lulu are probably the two big players at the moment. So the idea is that a customer can buy from you, the author, direct. You make more money than by selling through Amazon or other stores, and BookVault and Lulu look after the whole printing and posting of your products, which is much better than back in the old days where you'd buy 100 books and leave them in your garage and then go out one day to find it had rained and leaked all over them. You know, there's none of that anymore, and you're not having to take runs up to the post office because they'll all do it for you. Do you have post offices in America or New Zealand? Probably something equivalent. So this is an example, and this is literally an example. You can visit this and try it yourself. So it's quote.bookvault.app. This is where you can put in the price of the book you want to sell direct on your website, and it will spit out roughly how much you're going to make in profit for that book. So if you sell direct using Shopify, Wix, WooCommerce or others, you're looking at a production cost of around $3.92, but a total profit to you of around £6.07. Obviously, that doesn't take into account a lot of things that get taken off that profit in terms of, you know, other things you have to do. But in terms of what you should get back in your bank account on the basis of a $9.99 book, you're looking at around £6. If you sell through the Great British Bookshop as a comparison, which is BookVault's own bookstore, you're going to be looking at a profit of around £5.27. And if you sell on Amazon, you're looking at a profit of around about £2.57. So you can see there's quite a big difference there, big disparity between how much you might make as an author. These are mights and maybes. These are not definite, so don't quote me. These are examples and ideas, and you can go and test this out yourself to see what kind of profit you might make if you changed your selling strategy or if you stick with what you've got. So the benefits of selling direct are quite obvious, really. You get a direct relationship with your readers who purchase from you, which you don't get from any other store. So none of the other stores give you emails or addresses or anything like that. So you never know who they are. You can't ever contact them, and they're kind of just out there in the ether. Whereas obviously when they sign up to your website to buy something, they generally have to give you their email address They might sign up to your list, and therefore you've got them. And do not let them go. You've got full control, as I said earlier, about the marketing, the design, the branding, everything. You can control everything, how it looks. If you're not happy with the way something's presented on one of the other stores, there's really nothing you can do about it. It has to fit in this gap and be this size and this shape. That's it. Whereas obviously you can do whatever the hell you like on your website. You've also got the benefit, aside from those things and the extra money, of selling things like special editions, which is much more difficult with any other platform. So if you wanted colored edges or book tab things that you can put into the book, or gold leaf covers, that's all possible with selling direct. So there's lots of benefits to selling direct through your website. But why might you not sell direct? And this has been another shift that I've seen sort of on the other side of it. We've had a lot of authors who've pulled out of selling direct, and the reasons that they've pulled out are because you do have to have an e-commerce platform, which is generally more expensive. So I think the cheapest tier on Shopify, for example, is like £25 a month to have the functionality to be able to sell your book. So straight away you've got to make more than £25 a month profit to justify paying for the platform, if you see what I mean. And that's what I meant about this. Although those profits are they're a little bit misleading, because they don't take into account all the other stuff that you have to pay for to get you there in the first place. The big one for me is that you've got to generate the traffic yourself. So obviously Amazon has gazillion organic shoppers every day visit their site. And not only that, but they will recommend your book to other readers, the also boughts, and the other readers like you bought this, and they'll show them your book. Whereas obviously you don't get any of that on your website, and you've got to generate every single last visitor yourself. If nobody shouts about it, nobody will come. It's as simple as that. There's a steeper learning curve, because you've obviously got to learn about how to upload your books and your covers and your manuscripts and all the paper trims and the paper sizes and the types of covers and all the rest of it, that you probably don't know at the moment. Unlikely. If you do, great. But you've got to learn all about that. You've got to be kind of locked into being able to operate the e-commerce platform. You've got to probably have a business bank account. There's all kinds of implications of this. Trust is an issue as well, because people can be nervous about buying from smaller stores. So they might visit your site and go, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure if I want to give my credit card details to someone I'm not sure about. I'm just going to get my phone out of my pocket, only because I didn't take a note of what time we started. So I need to make sure I don't speak for the next 2 days, which has happened before. I'm just warning you. So yeah, trust can be an issue. People don't want to put their details into smaller stores. So obviously, most people that use Amazon are quite happy just to give them their money, and it happens automatically. You don't even have to put your details in. The cost to the customer. This is also an implication of selling direct, because somebody has to pay the postage, and generally it's passed on to the customer. So we're not only talking about a $9.99 book. They then have to pay however much it costs to ship that book from wherever the printing is to wherever they are in the world. And that obviously increases the cost of the book to them, sometimes quite considerably. So that cannot put people off as well. Obviously there's Prime and everything on Amazon, so there's often not a delivery charge. So, that is a huge implication as well. You can't obviously get a bestseller tag by selling anything on your website, because that's not registered by Amazon. So that's a really big thing for a lot of startup authors as well, that oh, I didn't realize I wouldn't get I can't get a bestseller tag. So if you're looking for that bestseller tag, which I think is a really good thing to have, real badge of honor, you have to focus your efforts to start with, at least on Amazon, to get that applied. And also the same with the organic verified reviews. You don't get any of those through your website. You have to do all the chasing for those reviews. You have to email them once they bought it and say, thanks for reading my book, would you mind sending me a review? Probably they won't. And then if they do, you've got to then obviously put it somewhere. It doesn't go onto Amazon. So there's a lot of downsides that people don't consider when they think about and they've heard it on all these podcasts, sell direct, and then they start and think, oh, wait a minute, that's not quite what I expected it to be. So do have that in mind. There's lots of benefits, but there's also a downside to it too. It really is down to the person. I'm not on either side. It's great for some people that have got a great following and they can sell shed loads of books, but for small authors perhaps who don't have that huge following, it might need a little bit more consideration. So another way that you can get more profit out of your website, so stand out by getting profit, is to offer members of your website things like bonus chapters or behind the scenes material. And then you could even charge a monthly fee for things like that and use something like Patreon to do that. Joe Penn, for example, uses Patreon to give away extras to people. You pay a monthly supplement and then you get extra to it. You can do all of that through your website as well, or at least point them to wherever it is you're doing it. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later as well, but behind the scenes material, the DVD industry made billions in the last decade or two from behind the scenes, DVDs. Writers need to get in on that. There's lots of things you can share with your readers, where you write, how you write, what your view is, what's your favorite mug. I don't know, all that stuff, what prompted you to read the book or write the book, sorry. There's all kinds of things that you could give away on your website that isn't available anywhere else, but that will drive people. And we know for a fact that people love behind the scenes material. So, you can guarantee if you've got fans, they will be interested to read that stuff. Upselling with bundles. Lots of authors have started to look at this as well. So you can create bundles of your books at discounted rates. So you can combine ebooks with signed physical copies or exclusive merchandise. Think about upselling. McDonald's does with that. Authors need to be thinking along those lines too if they're looking to increase profit. So something like this is one of the authors we've worked with. So Otto Schaefer, he sells these £30 or $30 boxes that have got a first, the book one with a signed copy inside, some other merchandise as well, a little letter it looks like in there. So, that's something he's hosting on his website. Fairly easy for him to just box up and send off to whoever buys it. But, lots more profit in something like that than potentially just a book. So merch is a good one. I was just talking about this with Candice earlier from Dibley, actually. So you could sell things like branded merchandise, things like T-shirts, mugs, posters, generate additional beyond. Fans are going to be, baby reindeer. They're going to want to buy everything you sell or produce. So why not? And actually, a lot of times with these drop shipping systems, you don't even have to pay up front for any of it. You just set up the drop shipping. Then if someone orders the T-shirt, it gets printed and sent to them. It's completely hands off. It doesn't cost you anything. You only pay for it when somebody buys it, and then you pay a percentage or whatever. And sometimes, authors will release stuff like this. Don't be surprised if readers don't buy a huge amount of it, because it's the kind of thing you have to be quite passionate about something or somebody to buy this stuff. But merch is another opportunity, particularly if you're in something like fantasy. I think that is a great fit for merch. Mugs and stuff might work, or quotes even for other types of genre, non-fiction or whatever. Email marketing, as I mentioned earlier, this is the gold standard for growing an audience. You build an email list on your website generally to market new releases. So you've got this warm audience. They've said they want to hear from you. So they say, oh, tell me about it. So you email them and say, hey, book 2's just launched, go and buy it. So it's a really great way of getting that kick up the charts. You can tell people what's going on, tell them about your releases, your exclusive discounts. You can give them promotions. You can do all kinds of really fun stuff with that audience. But I really want you to think about them as people. Talk to them regularly, use your voice, be friendly. There's no point having a subscriber response when they sign up, which just says, hey, thanks for joining my mailing list. I'll send you a free copy of my book, Love Me. That's not enough. You need to be you and tell them who you are and what's going on. That's why they're signing up. So go back and have a look at those responses and make sure they are friendly and they speak in your voice and they tell the user what to expect and why they've signed up. Courses and workshops. So all of you here are skilled in something. Okay, you may not know what it is yet, but you are. Why not monetize that expertise by offering online writing courses or workshops to other aspiring authors? So these are all things that you can drive through your website, using your talents, your skills, the things you've got to hand. You don't necessarily have to pay much for doing something like this, but even if it's just a one-to-one, you could do a £50 an hour one-to-one for somebody who wants to learn how to write in your genre or something. Okay, so there's all kinds of things that you could launch, to increase the value that your users get from your website. Affiliate marketing, we've all heard of this, I'm sure. So obviously you can sign up to be an affiliate on Amazon as well. So if people click through your book and then buy a telly, you get kickback from that sale, and you just need to go to Amazon and sign up as an affiliate. But there's all sorts of companies that offer affiliate marketing. So, you know, basically if somebody clicks your link, then you get a little kickback from that company. It doesn't generally cost the user anymore, but you just get a little bit of money on the side. So, you know, don't go crazy with this. Audiences don't generally like being kind of flogged stuff to, you know, but the odd thing here or there where it's a genuine recommendation, no problem at all. And if in some people are actually upfront and say, you know, if you buy this, whatever it is, I might get some money back from it, but it won't cost you anything else. So have a look where you could share some affiliate marketing links on your website. Digital downloads. So obviously we're all familiar with things like ebooks, but what about you know, selling actually other kinds of audio books? You can do that in various ways. You could have a downloadable guide, just a really simple PDF, you know, 10 tips on how to write fantasy, or 10 tips on how to be a sci-fi author, or whatever, and just charge a few bucks for it or whatever. I mean, obviously it's down to you how much you charge, if at all, but just having things online that are possible destinations for your users and readers, but also a ways potentially for you to earn more money. Obviously, anything digital has a minimal overhead because you haven't got to pay for it in physical terms, and there's no inventory either, so you haven't got that garage full of books or whatever it might be that you're trying to sell. Speaking engagements and consulting. So, you know, this is what I'm doing here. You know, I've grown that side of my business as well by just being available and learning my subject and wanting to share it with other people, and then being asked to do that. So, you know, why not? You can charge for it then as well if you become, you know, expert in your field. But you could offer services such as speaking engagements, workshops, like I said earlier, one-to-one consulting. You could sell those. You could maybe go into offices and talk about your experience. You know, you could go into schools, colleges, newspapers, radio stations. There's a whole load of things where you could build that and then start to charge for it as you become more established. Crowdfunding. So this is something as well that's been knocking around for the last few years in the community. And I believe, is it Sasha Black, who I follow on Instagram and TikTok, incredible lady, did a crowdfunding earlier this month or last month. She made $25,000 in the first hour from her audience. So, you know, that engages the readers. It gets you upfront funds, and you can sell special editions and stuff like that, and then get your followers to, you know, this is where you email them and say, hey, if you want a special edition, you can go and buy it now and invest in my project. There's lots of, Kickstarter is probably the most obvious place to look, and there's lots of training about how to do that online as well. So there are 10 ways that you might choose to think about adding stuff to your website or increasing your portfolio of things that you do. But how then do we get those readers to the website? Whether you do those things or not, this is still something we want to do. So the first thing is obviously the design. I'm just going to drink some coffee and I'll just cover the mic. There's nothing worse than hearing somebody swallow. So yes, I have got a branded mug. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Be shameless, right? You know, you're an author. You have to act as the publisher. No one else is going to do it for you. So, you know, brand everything. Put your website everywhere. We'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. But just think about your design on your website. And I've had this kind of discussion with lots of authors over the years. Your site should be all about the reader, for the reader, all right? It's not about you. And, you know, when you say, or not you, but when an author says, oh, I don't like that on my website, it's not necessarily the right approach, because what you have to think is, would my reader respond to this on my website? It's not really about your taste, in the same way that designing a book cover isn't really about your taste. It has to be full of the tropes and expectations that the reader is going to recognize when they see that book cover. You know, we've heard for years about how you must make your books look like other books in your genre. They must fit, if you like. And the website is exactly the same. And this was a bit of a kind of eureka moment for me. I've been building websites and thinking, it's just not something not quite right. And I realized it was just that when I landed on these websites, it didn't shout to me what the website was about, what genre it was in, what the author was talking about, and who they were. So that's where I got this idea from. And it's worked brilliantly, making the experience much more recognizable and instant, you know, to the reader. So one of the things I also believe in fully is using video, movement, and animation. So why would you use video? Well, it's immersive and it's engaging. It's an experience that fills the screen with a sense of your genre. Your website should be like your book, like I said, all about the genre. It also draws the eye of the reader. Certainly animation does. And if you want readers to look at something, then make it move. And that's why we use animation in the architecture of a website, because when something moves, we look at it. I'm not talking about a 1990s PowerPoint presentation, but I am talking about kind of action and breath. It make it come alive. It's not, you might as well print it on a piece of paper and just have a flyer. You know, make it something that is interesting and breathing and alive, and much more kind of dynamic for the reader. I don't need to tell you that, you know, video is the thing of the moment. You know, look at all the platforms that have become huge in the last few years, you know, TikTok, Instagram stories, all the rest of it. You know, we should accept quite clearly that video is here to stay. It is the way to sell products. So here's just a few examples of some of the sites that we've made in the last couple of years or so, or less actually, and just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about in terms of video, that immersive experience, things that move. So you look at them. I may have just got a little bit quieter because I've just moved my mic slightly. Just give you a minute to watch a few of these. That is one of my favorites. Okay, so that's just some examples of the way you might use that. I've had a couple of people feed back to me on this previously when I've shown that video and say, oh, I hate the music. I'd never have music on my website. Obviously, I overlaid that music to that video. It wasn't actually on the website, so all of our websites are actually silent, but it was just to kind of create some atmosphere around that. And also people say, oh, you know, it's too much. There's too much going on. There's things coming in left, right, and center. And obviously that is a very condensed version of some examples. It isn't necessarily like that as a full experience on a website. And that's not what I'm suggesting at all. Like I said, we don't want PowerPoint. We want immersive experience that kind of draws you in. So, you know, it might be use a few of those ideas or a bit of it. You know, it's not about making your website kind of go left, right, and center like a firework display. So this is your universe. So what kind of things that could you also add to your site? So obviously over the last few years, we've heard a lot about AI. And I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about AR, which is augmented reality and animated covers. So, you know, in terms of marketing, I love to look at people like, well, Amazon and Apple, for example. What are they doing? How are they marketing their products? Because obviously they don't just put stuff out there and hope for the best. They do, you know, millions of dollars worth of research into what attracts people to buy the product. And if you look at any Apple product sales stuff, all of it is around video. All of it is colorful. All of it is modern, contemporary. It's animated, it's moving, and it's interesting. You know, and that's where we should be aiming for those big boys or girls. You know, what are they doing? Can we emulate or use some of that research that they've already invested in? We know it works because otherwise they wouldn't have done it. Let's do it ourselves. Okay. So what about thinking of interesting and different formats of your book covers that would interest your readers, particularly those big fans? So this is something really simple that we love to do to book covers, is just add some kind of movement and just a little bit of a kind of expression of the book itself. So on that left-hand side one there, Michael Dante, you know, he's got a lady drowning there, so he just added those bubbles just to bring that book alive, ironically, because she's dying. But, you know, just to give it some really interesting movement. The middle one there is all about fire or an explosion or something. So just some very subtle, you know, sparks and ashes and what have you. And then the last one is a fantasy book. So we just overlaid that kind of fantastical atmosphere, which, you know, you can use all of these not only on your website but on social media as well. You know, imagine these popping up as book covers for people on Instagram or wherever. You know, that people are going to stop and look at this. It'll be something they haven't seen before. It's like, oh wow, what have they done there? That's incredible. So, you know, just an idea of something you can point to as well from social media. You know, hey guys, have you seen my animated covers or whatever? Check them out on my website. Here's the link. Bosh, you've got some traffic. So again, going back to Apple, you know, they are big in this field of augmented reality. They've obviously launched their glasses things, which weirdly, I don't know if you know this, but when you put these glasses on, what you're seeing there on that lady aren't her actual eyes. They have little kind of cameras inside the mask which film the eyes and then project them onto the screen that is on the front of those goggles. So that's really weird. I've not actually used those particular type, but I have used AR glasses, and it is incredible. You know, Disney's into this. I went to a Star Wars thing where I was actually walking around as a stormtrooper. Oh my God, that was amazing. I want to do it every day. Anyway, so augmented reality is something that's incoming. You might have seen this on some shopping channels like Amazon. So if you look on the left-hand side there of that video of my phone, you'll see for something like this, for example. So this is just a air purifier, and it says now when you go to buy it, do you want to see this in your room? And you can literally click the button and it will show you in your room what that thing is going to look like. You know, this is coming through. This is becoming part of our everyday life. It's now available on Amazon for lots and lots of products. You can see the furniture in your room. You can see it, you know, up against the wall, move it around. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. And then, of course, straight to add to basket. You've seen it in the real world, now buy it. You know, they don't hang around. So this is something that I think as a technology, authors really need to engage with and think about, because it is coming through, no doubt about it. You know, Apple themselves have just launched their new iPhone 16. That does actually happen to be mine. Yes, I'm the proud owner of a new iPhone 16 Pro Max, because on my last holiday at the end of August, I jumped into the swimming pool with my old 12 Pro Max, which, funnily enough, I found out they're not actually waterproof after all. So yes, I had to buy a new one. But if you see there, you can now take what's called spatial photographs, which is photographs that translate, that's the word, into augmented reality. So you could actually upload those to whatever it is you upload them to, and then people wearing the glasses could actually look round the picture that you've taken. So, you know, we're just at the beginning of this technology. It's going to be so exciting in terms of being able to experience things that, you know, we're not seeing at the moment in the way that the vision is for this. So just something to think about. And in terms of using it as an author, here's a really good example. So you could actually get your phones out and try this. So the idea here is that you scan the QR code. It loads a loading screen. You don't have to download an app or anything like that. You just click the view button and then hover over the cover of the book, and something magical will happen. It will overlay a video. Now, the incredible tech behind this and the application of this is so exciting. Can you imagine readers walking around, you know, Walmart or Barnes and Noble or whatever, scanning the cover of your book, and up pop you saying, hello there, hope you enjoy my book. I'd love you to sign up to my website. You can find me at imagreatauthor.com or whatever. Okay, so that's one example. You may or may not have had time to grab your phone and try that. Here's another one, and this is the book that I've never written by me. So it's not a real thing. Obviously, neither of these are real. But if you scan that, then you will unfortunately have another video of me starting to talk and pretend that I'm an author with a message that you might put on your book. Now, this tech is insane. You can use it on any part of your book, inside the book, outside, on any static picture. So it could even be inside the book on some text. So if you're writing, you know, a passage about Paris, they could scan the text about Paris, whatever it is, the story, and then it would present them with either a video or a gallery of images of the place that you're talking to. I mean, you know, how about taking readers through a real journey, you know, both visually and kind of whatever the other one is. Anyway, you know, there's so many opportunities here. So if neither of those worked for you, then I've just recorded a very short video here as well. So this is my old 12, which we have to say goodbye to because it went in the swimming pool. Recorded it. So you scan the code, you move the code over to the image. It opens the software. You don't need the app.
There's something people don't know about isolation.
Now, you may not be able to hear that.
It can drive you mad, alone, in a station on the brink, the edge, where every breath could be his last.
So that's just a little book trailer that I literally threw together in a couple of minutes on a program called InVideo. It's not real. It's just I put in, you know, I want this to be a sci-fi style book. These are the lines I want in it. But then at the bottom there, you can see it says, you know, it could say, click this to get my website. Click the learn more and it would take them off to the website. So not only is it a fascinating and interesting kind of concept and idea, but it also allows you to drive people to your website to do all of the other fun stuff that we've already mentioned. So, you know, I love this. I think I'm totally across this AR tech, and I think, you know, it's got some really interesting applications for authors. So what else could you add to your website on top of a beautiful design, on top of some stuff that you might want to monetize? What else? Spotify playlists. This is a really easy one. There's lots of different types of playlists you could add here. It's totally free. You can go to Spotify and set these up. So you could have playlists for your characters that they like to listen to. You could have playlists that you like to listen to while you were writing a particular book. You could have a playlist of a bar that, you know, your character went into. Anything you like, all that kind of stuff. You know, it doesn't take very long. You can stick them, embed them on your website. You should be able to do that very easily. And again, it's just something that you can slap on to your website and then put on social media and say, hey, these are the songs that I had in my mind when Fred, the character, was walking into that bar in Ohio or whatever. Bosh, off it goes. And, you know, you might get some traffic there. Resources for book clubs. They're quite a big thing over in the UK. I'm not sure how they are in the US, but, you know, what about just putting some free downloadable resources for book clubs? You know, if you want book clubs to read your book, then give them a helping hand, give them a list of questions, some topics, I don't know, things that people discuss at book clubs. Get yourself along to one, find out what they use, and then create some free resources. And then book clubs will come and find you and download those and read your book. And again, you could give all that away for free PDFs, whatever. Any media you've got. So if you haven't been in the newspaper or the radio or anything like that, why not? Because, you know, all those institutions always looking for features and interesting stories, particularly about local stars or celebrities or, you know, creators. So write to your local paper, get in there, get an interview, tell them why you're writing, where you're writing, how you're writing. You know, get on a few podcasts and then stick all of that on your website as well. Behind the scenes content, obviously I touched on that earlier. So, you know, putting that on your website, pictures of where you work, pictures of your dog. You know, I don't know if you really realize, but dogs and cats, people love them, and they honestly can sometimes make or break someone's success. If you start mentioning your dog, you'll get all the dog fans saying, oh, she's so lovely, I've got one the same. So, you know, yes, it's not directly related to what you're doing, but in terms of building that relationship and giving that behind the scenes content. But on top of that, obviously, you can write things like why you wrote the book, where you went to write the book, how you wrote it. You know, did you do any research? All of that stuff shouldn't take all that long to generate, but is great content for your website. Character profiles and artwork. You know, there's always discussion with readers as to what the character looks like and who they should be played by on TV or whatever. You know, you should get on the back of that and have a section on your website that says, you know, I've had, you know, a message from Fred. I don't know why I keep saying Fred, Margaret, who says, you know, I would love so-and-so to play this part and whatever. You could have all of that on there. You could also create some profiles. So write a bit of a background on your characters and have their kind of almost their CV, but their life CV on your website. And some artwork as well. You know, if people are sending you artwork or you've got any for your character that you think would be relevant, again, put that on your website and then push to it from social media. So we're getting close to the end here, so I'm going to have to hurry up a little bit. But some other bits you might put on there, read a sample. So for example, on Amazon, when you visit Amazon, underneath the book cover, you'll have seen that thing that says read a preview. Well, it's perfectly fine to put that on your website as well. It's very easy. You just cut and paste the link when it's opened on Amazon and then put it on your website. So another reason why people might take action on your website, they're there looking at the book and they'll go, oh yeah, I'll read a preview. And when they click that, of course, it opens the read a preview that we're all familiar with on Amazon with a big blue or orange rather, buy now button. So, okay, they might not buy it through your website like that, but they're buying it on Amazon, which is also what you want. So, you know, there's no reason why you can't have that reader sample link on all of your books on your website. Audio samples, I've also checked with Audible and ACX about this. It's absolutely fine. Again, underneath Amazon books, if you've got audio, then there's often an audio sample underneath the book cover as well. And that one is a little bit more complicated, but it is possible to grab that audio sample and bring it over to your website. So again, while they're on your website, it's just more encouragement for them to buy it. You know, next to the Amazon button there, they click the button, they can listen to a sample of that book. So we talked about character profiles with all the AI stuff that you've got available to you now. So this one I used Adobe Firefly, and it's again, that's a free program. I just put in, you know, I don't know, spaceman on a spaceship, you know, a handsome whatever, and it didn't use me, unfortunately, but it did use this person. So yeah, why not just go and create some pictures of your characters? It literally takes 2 lines, 2 minutes. And you can, you know, come up with some really nice ideas and then put it on your website or wherever and say, what do you think? Do you think this is what the character looks like? And wait for the fallout. Don't be Tom Cruise in Reacher, for example. What about putting on some exclusive short stories or deleted scenes? I'm sure there's stuff that you've written that didn't quite make the cut, but actually probably is good enough to be put on there and say, you know, this is a scene I deleted. Should it have been included? Do you like it? I don't know. Have some discussion around it, but don't waste some of that stuff. And also, you know, get into the exclusive short stories because people will lap those up. I've just downloaded actually the Jack Reacher or Lee Child short story collection on Audible. I think it only went live this month. It's called Stay Safe. And he talks at the beginning. It's actually an interview with him at the front where he says about how he never thought he could write short stories. And now he has. He loves them. And, you know, they're really punchy. So, you know, your website is a great place for those. What about a quiz? Particularly if you've got kids' books, you know, you could create some quizzes around your books. You know, what did this character do after they did that? Whatever. Interactive maps. So this is quite big in the fantasy world, obviously. So if you've got a really expansive, and sci-fi, so if you've got a really expansive universe, you could, you know, create a map. There are people online that will do this for you as well. So they'll design the map for you and then you can put that on your website. Fan art gallery comes back to what we were saying earlier. You could ask people to actually generate that stuff for you and then stick it on your website. Video content. What about, and this is so easy, and it blows my mind that people don't do this. What about sitting down with a cup of tea? It's really easy, like I'm doing now, and read the first chapter of your book and put it on your website. What a beautiful thing. Your readers can watch you read your book, right? You've got full rights over your book, presumably, so you're completely entitled to do that. There's no reason why you can't do that. Book trailers, you know, you've got software out there like BookBrush who will help you make book trailers. And like you saw earlier, I literally made that one, which wasn't very good, granted, but it was free from InVideo. I just put in there the book cover and some kind of prompts and off it popped. And what about some interviews? Again, this is something that I think is really overlooked. Get a friend or family to come around your house, set yourself up with a, you know, an iPhone. Well, you've probably got a 12 or 13, but no, whatever your phone is, stick it in the corner and get that person, give them some questions, obviously, but get them to ask you some questions about being an author. Do your own podcast, do your own little interview and put it on the website. Couple of other little ideas that I've seen as I float around. J.D. Kirk, one of my favorite crime authors in the world. He's absolutely brilliant, Scottish-based crime thrillers. He's got a character called Hoon, Bob Hoon, who is absolutely hilarious, but not for the faint-hearted. So please don't read it or look at it if you are particularly sensitive, because you will be offended, no question about it. But he's got an insult generator on his website. I can't use it live because it is really that bad. But you click that big button, let him rip, and it sticks out an insult of some description. And it took me about 10 minutes to actually get one that I could actually clip and use on this presentation. So go and dig it out if you want to have a play with that yourself. But what a genius idea. This really offensive character has its own page on the website where it will give you these insults. And one we've just completed for Beverly Watts, who's also just been nominated for the Kindle Storyteller Awards. So congratulations to her. We're thrilled to have created her website as well. But, you know, she's got a big old family tree on her website now, which is all interactive. So you can click those book covers and it will take you to the sales pages. And I actually created that in Canva. So I just went to Canva and there was a family tree template and just filled it in, added in the stuff, added the links, and then embedded it using HTML, which I know some people have just gone, what? What's HTML? It's just a bit of code. It's really simple. Anyway, so you can just bring that over from Canva and there you've got a lovely looking family tree, which might, you know, help to order your books as well for your readers. So where are you going to promote your website? Some really simple things, bookmarks. I mean, you know, old school, but why not? Get a load printed. They cost next to nothing. Take them places, drop them on the floor, leave them around. No, don't drop them on the floor, but no, do drop them on the floor. Go into bookshops, ask if you can put them on their side. Go into libraries, leave them there, you know, on the trains, give them out to people, be a weirdo. But, you know, if you don't do it, no one else will. But if you've got those things to hand, you never know when you can give it to someone and they might then become a reader. Other authors, again, this is something I just cannot believe doesn't happen more. And I'm trying to think of a way to actually make this work for authors. So every author has peer authors, people that write in the same genre or same type of book. And backlinks are a very important thing for your website. And a backlink is something that references or refers to your website, okay? And Google likes backlinks because it means that your website has a level of authority. So it looks at it and says, okay, well, that's being referred by that website, so it must have something about it that people like. So why not get together with 5 other authors in your genre and say, look, I'm going to dedicate a whole page on my website to your books, and I'm going to link to your website as long as you do the same for me. Suddenly, you've got readers coming to your site who will then see theirs and vice versa. So you might gain readers from their readership and they might gain them from yours just by having a few links on your website. And then you also get that backlink authority through Google. Why not in the header image of your Facebook page? Most of you will have a Facebook page with that header cover image. I bet none of you or few of you have actually got your web address in that. You might have a picture of your book or a picture of you, but have you got your web address there? If you haven't, slap your hand and get back to do it and put it on. And also across all of your social media, you know, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you can put it. Business cards, similarly to bookmarks, cost next to nothing, but you can knock those out, you know, on Canva for 20 bucks, for 500 or whatever it is. Have them to hand, take them to parties, be that weird author who gives them out all the time. But like I say, you might actually meet that person who goes off to become a real ambassador for you. Promote your website some more. So put your website on your front and back cover, right? So probably you won't put it on your front, that's fine, but why not have it on your back? You've got ISBN numbers and all kinds of other stuff. There's no reason why you can't have your web address on the back of your book. Again, it blows my mind that we don't do this really as a matter of course. It should be there inside the book. Everybody always talks about back matter, but what about the front matter? There's absolutely no reason why you can't have a page at the front that says, hey, I really hope you enjoy this book, and if you do, then you can find me and more information at www.imagreatauthor.com, whatever, in the front of your book. So have it in both. There's absolutely no reason why you can't. And this is another one that blows my mind, in your audiobooks. So again, I checked with audio ACX and Audible, and it's absolutely fine to have at the end of your audiobook, you know, the end, and then normally you've got that little thing, you know, this has been Audible, we hope you enjoyed our production. Well, before all that, you can put in again a narrator saying, if you're interested in this author and you've enjoyed their books, you can follow them and find out more information at www. whatever. The only caveat is that you have to make sure it's absolutely clear that it's not part of the book. As long as it's clearly away from the end of the book, then it's absolutely fine to have that in there. And I listen to audiobooks all the time, every day, and I think I've only ever heard one author who had that at the end of their audiobook. I just can't believe that everybody is missing out on that massive about a bit of real estate. On your email sign off, obviously, just put it everywhere. Be blatant. You know, the loudest voice gets heard, and you have to be that loudest voice. You should always be putting it on once a week on social media, even if it's totally unrelated. You know, hey, I went to the beach today. blah, 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 blah. Here's a lovely picture of my family with whatever it is you're sharing, with a link out to your website. Okay. In your link in your bio, again, this is one that I can't believe people miss. So there's a perfect little space for people to click through to your website or any other assets you've got on Instagram and Twitter and all the rest of it. So make sure you are using that bit on those profiles. Again, they act as backlinks. So again, Google looks at that and says, okay, it's being referred from there. From there, it's great. Social media posts. And the last one, Alexa, open author James Blatch.
Welcome to author James Blatch on Alexa. Let's start. James has 3 books available. You can buy them all on Amazon. You can read more about James and sign up to his mailing list at jamesblatch.com. Want some more?
Yes, please.
The first book is The Final Flight, Low, Fast and Invisible to the Soviet War Machine. NATO's new weapon will change the course of the Cold War. There's just one problem, and veteran engineer Chris Milford has found it. James Blatch is a director of the self-publishing Formula Limited, an online course provider for independent authors.
Okay, I'll stop it there. You get the idea. But that's a really, again, exciting kind of bit of tech that I think I'd really like to pursue and look at, having authors on smart devices. Okay, I'm just going to take a step here to go back to there. There we go. I'm back. Hopefully there's still some people with us. Right. Yeah, pop your questions in the chat if you've got any, or if you haven't, that's great. But if you've already written some, then hopefully Michael's going to pop some up so I can see them. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I really hope you did. I hope there was some really good takeaways in there. I've thought long and hard about how to give that session some really good value and to give you some things that you really should be able to go and do. Let's see here. I'll just scroll through then. What tools or platforms do you recommend for authors who want to build or redesign their websites? Great question. Okay, so there's loads out there, some more expensive than others. My personal preference is Wix. I only use Wix, so that is my go-to platform for building websites for authors. It's got so many functionalities that authors need and use, so it's a really good platform for that. But obviously there are things like WordPress, although there is some debate going on at the moment. You may have seen it in the news. There's some falling out between 2 parties on WordPress, and that is causing some major issues. But there's other things like Shopify even. You could, Strikingly, that's another one. Weebly, Squarespace, there are loads out there, all of varying kind of levels of functionality and difficulty. As I say, I prefer Wix. It just works for all of our authors, and all of them are really happy to use it. But yeah, I don't really think it comes down to your decision to some degree, but do your research, look at, author websites out there on the platforms you're considering. Most people just want something simple. Anything else? Landing page versus website. Yeah. Okay. So basically they're the same thing. Okay. I've had this discussion lots of times. So, you can have a web page that is a landing page, if you see what I mean. So, or you have, a landing page on your web page. It's just, they're the same thing. They're basically the front door of your website. A landing page, is generally just the place where you get to first. So you can either have a standalone one, but that doesn't give you a lot of room to put all the other stuff that we've talked about on it. Whereas a website obviously gives you that functionality to be able to add pages. And sorry if I bashed the mic there or whatever. So yeah, they're essentially the same thing, really. It's where you send people, the front door to your hub. And it's entirely up to you, really, whether you've got enough content for a full website. Most people do. By the time you've got the basics of a book covers, links to Amazon, a bio, your photo, all the usual email sign up, all of those things, you've got, quite a lot there to build yourself a really nice web page. Any others? How can an author track the success of their websites and ensure it's reaching the right audience? So there's all sorts of tools out there. In the back of some of the products, like Wix, for example, you have got a lot of analytics. So you can see where it's being looked at, what countries people are looking at it from, where the device they're looking at it on, how often they visit, whether they're unique or returning visitors. There's loads of tools out there. Google Analytics is the obvious go-to as well, which syncs up with a lot of these platforms as well. So Google Analytics, again, this is all a bit deeper because you've got to relearn, all of that stuff too. But yes, there's quite a lot of opportunity for you to find out. Obviously, you can do quite a lot of tracking as well with things like Facebook pixels. So if you put a Facebook pixel into your website, you can then advertise to people that have visited your site because it knows they've been there. So yes, there's lots of ways to track your success. And obviously success comes to some degree by the amount of money you make and sales you create. So obviously you can tell whether it's working or not, whether or not people are getting to your sales pages, wherever they might be on Amazon or whatever, if they're coming through your website. What are the biggest mistakes authors make when creating their websites? Getting next door neighbor's second cousin once removed, who once knew a website designer in 1980 to do it. That is mistake 101. I don't need somebody professional to do it. I can just get my next door neighbor to do it. No, get somebody who knows what they're doing. It's one of those things that I really think, like a book cover, you need to invest in. It is the front of everything, and you need to take that time. So often, success comes from this investment, and sometimes some of the websites I've seen that people have tried to sell books from or encourage readers to sign up through, just aren't going to cut the mustard in this day and age particularly. So make sure everything is the best it can be. Book covers are obviously the absolute first and foremost in terms of priority. Make sure those book covers are absolutely killer. Make sure they sit inside the genre really well. Do your due diligence. Don't make them in Word Paint, and don't again get other people to make them for you that don't know what they're doing. In terms of design, I build everything I do online in terms of websites around book covers. So there's a consistency across the fonts, the colors, the styling, the images and everything. So if those book covers are crap, the website, well, it won't be, but you know what I mean? You're going to be pulling from a bad source. So make sure those book covers are absolutely top notch to start before you do anything else. How often should authors update their websites, and what content should be refreshed regularly? Well, that's a question for you rather than me, in the sense that what do you want to do? Like I said, some people just leave it festering in the corner, but I've given you hopefully 100 ideas of what things you could refresh your website with. If you did one of these things every even month for the next 2 years, you're going to have refreshed content, or even once every couple of weeks, even just adopting one of those things and putting them on your website. A blog is obviously the obvious thing that you might want to add to your website to kind of write about stuff on your website. Again, remember that the readers are not necessarily interested in author stuff, so you might not want to write a blog about how to write this, that, or the other, but you might. So yes, a blog is a good way of keeping refreshed content on your website. One more question, apparently, I have been told by the gods from Dibley. What should an author prioritize if they're working within a limited budget for their website? Sorry, my eyes are terrible. It's really tiny. Good question. Again, make sure those book covers are good. Make sure whoever you choose to build your website creates the type of site you want. Look at their portfolio. So prioritize a bit of due diligence. Check in on, the sites that you're looking at. Have a look and see if you can find out about the actual back end of the website so that you're comfortable with operating it. But yes, I mean, limited budget obviously affects all kinds of aspects of this journey. And it's never easy, and it's always difficult to say, actually it's going to cost a fair amount of money to get this online or whatever it might be. So yes, you have to kind of think about making sure you're ready to go as well. Don't wait to the last minute either. So some people come to me and say, I'm launching my book next week. I need a website. The website should have been up and running 6 months ago in preparation for that launch. So, get organized early, get your ducks in a row. The longer your website is live, the better chance it has of being found by Google. So don't leave it to the day of launch, because it will just take another 6 weeks or more potentially for Google to even register it exists. So it won't have any impact. Whereas if you've got it up and running early in the day, then when you launch your book, Google already knows it's there. Thank you, Jane. Yes, she said, thank you very much. Thanks to you and TW. Thanks, guys. You can always get in touch with me at Digital Authors Toolkit and also catch up with Dibley at dibley.com.